I have an email here from somebody named Nick Leinberger. The email is called 30-Day Update Scooter Content. And back, I think the date was March 24th. One day before that, Nick sent me an email. He said, I have a stagnating social media account where I post scooter tutorial videos. I had some success, but not much. What do you think? And I recorded on March 24th, I recorded a podcast response for Nick on what I would do differently. And I gave a lot of advice, and Nick sent me this email 30 days later on April 24th, which I've been meaning to make this podcast about. Actually, I made it yesterday, and I have these technical difficulties, and I am re-recording it. And this is my response to Nick, your email on April 24th. And I'm going to read your email. And as I read your email, it will cover a lot of the pieces of advice that I gave in my original podcast. And then I will also give new pieces of advice and new thoughts that I have. I looked at your pages, and I'm really happy, because it seems like my advice worked. This is how the email starts from Nick Leinberger. Nick says, Edward, these last 30 days of posting have exceeded my wildest expectations. Instagram 30-day summary, 1.7 million views, 1.1 thousand new followers. And then it looks like you're charting your growth, which is great. Like I said on this show many times, I write down how many followers on TikTok I have every morning at 6 a.m. I wake up at 6 a.m. I just take a screenshot of my follower account later in the day. I just chart that on an Excel document, and then I turn it into a graph. And so over time, I see the inflection points of where I gained followers the fastest. What did I do there? And then I think about that. I go back and I think about that, and I look at these inflection points and I say, okay, I should do this more. I should do this more. I should do this more. And that's how I learned a lot of what I've learned. And Nick, you're doing that too. And I'm really happy to hear that. And you have a very healthy upwards growth rate. And then you share highlights. Some of my highlights of posting from the last 30 days. March 24th, you made your response to my email. March 25th, I posted my first video since August 2023 and bought Content Inc. Buying Content Inc., another one of my recommendations, because Nick was saying, how could I monetize this? And I was saying, Nick, there's dozens of ways that you can monetize this. Content Inc. has a whole chapter called Monetization on how creators are monetizing. And there's literally dozens of ideas in that book. Content Inc. second edition, one of my most recommended marketing books. March 28th, I posted my best performing post ever, 242,000 views. April 5th, new best performing post, 422,000 views. April 17th, new best performing post, 771,000 views. And then I have posted every day without exception and made a significant effort to experiment with hooks, style, content, etc. I have plenty more ideas for content and intend to keep this momentum going. I was able to post every day despite a busy work schedule and moving apartments. So I'm going to stop right here for a second, because I gave two pieces of advice on my first podcast, which was you got to be consistent. If you are not naturally gifted with content, most people naturally are not, then you got to do it every day. I was saying this to a friend this morning. Mr. Beast posted videos for years before figuring it out. Lots of other huge names did that. It took me, fortunately, it didn't take me years, but it took me posting literally every day, without fail, every day, 2 to 4 times a day, sometimes 7, before I had my first viral video. My first viral video was video number 4 on a day where I posted 7 videos, because I just kept throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticked and learning as fast as I could. But it still took me 70 days posting several times a day. That was another piece of advice that I gave to Nick. It was, don't overthink it. Just make the bar for success just posting. Bar for success is just get something out. Over time, you will learn. And then the other thing was, if you want to focus on learning one thing, learn hooks. Test different hooks. Style and content too, but really test hooks. And so it seems like you've been doing that, and you just had new personal record after new personal record after new personal record. I'm super happy to see that. I said this to my friend Brett yesterday. Brett is executive director of events at Forbes. And that's a great title. I'm super proud of Brett, one of my best friends in the world. We met, I think, in 2009. We were both interning at ABC when we became super close friends. I was talking to Brett today on the phone, but I said this to him yesterday as well. I said 2 things. I said, Brett, you are one of the most creative and talented people that I know. Also, one of my other best friends, Michael, he's had a video at the New York Post. Him as well. Crazy creative people. And they've posted and done things publicly with social media on and off for years. But I'm the one who has now hundreds of thousands of followers. And I am so much less creative and brilliant than they are. I'm like a marketing nerd. That's me. I'm just a nerd. I kind of like try to figure out what works, what can be optimized, patterns that I can use and that I can exploit. That's me. But these guys, Brett and Michael, just so brilliant and funny and creative and tastemakers, such great taste they have. But I'm the one who has all these followers and who has top of mind awareness. And that's just because, it is because of this one reason. It is because I post every day and they don't. Here's something crazy about Brett. Brett was on the show before talking about how he would get A-list celebrities on his podcast in 2009. He was one of the first people with a podcast. He was 17 years old and he was getting Kim Kardashian on his show, Paris Hilton on his show. He was Jimmy Fallon on his show as a 17-year-old who was so smart. And while he was doing this, he was going to college. He was interning at places. And here's the thing about Brett. This is what I said to him. I said, Brett, if you had stuck with that podcast, you would be an A-list celebrity by now. 100% you'd be an A-list celebrity, but he didn't stick with the podcast. He was doing that in 2017. He did it for a few years. Podcasts weren't big then. It was hard to get a lot of traction. No Spotify. People weren't listening to podcasts very frequently on the go. He was using Blog Talk Radio. Didn't stick with it. Gave it up. Look at me. I don't see success. I just brute force it. Keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Eventually, I'll get there. My other friend, Michael, New York Post, so creative and brilliant. Oh my God, drives me crazy that the world has not seen Michael. But same thing. He has a very hard time being consistent. So consistency for me, consistency and perseverance is like the main thing. I said that to Brett yesterday, and I recorded it on the podcast yesterday, and that video file got corrupted, which is why I'm recording it again. This time I'm also recording background audio, which is now a best practice for these podcasts. Should have been doing that all along. Yesterday was the first time that I had a corrupted video file, though. First time in 300 episodes that I had a corrupted video file. But now I'm doing some new best practices. Okay. Anyway, Nick, so happy to see that you are being consistent. Amazing. Just really amazing. And that you're testing with hooks. That the inflection point came, it wasn't even on day 70. I think it was day 90. Day 70 is when I had my first viral video. Day 90 was when I had my next viral video. And I sent it to a friend, and my friend said, that's a good hook. And then I thought, oh, hooks. I should think about that more. And then I started putting more work into hooks, and my videos started doing better. Hooks, huge. Nick, you continue. I finished Content Inc. in about a week and made initial efforts to monetize. I haven't focused on this very much, but I have a few ideas that I plan on testing soon. I plan on starting small by reaching out to companies who may be interested in sponsoring a single video. Amazing. Like I said on my episode to you, I have friends, they get paid, big companies will pay them tens of thousands of dollars to make a single video, or they'll get paid for the month 5 figures to just be a sponsor, make a few posts on their story, make it look like they are authentically recommending a brand. So I'm happy to see that you're doing this, that you're making an effort to do this. Additionally, I am using a free automation that automatically pulls my follower total into a Google Sheet as of now. It only works for Instagram, so I'm still going in and manually adding my TikTok followers. That's great. I mean, your growth, I'm looking at this graph that you sent me for total followers, and it's like this hilarious lineup in the last month. I am also keeping track of any videos that perform above average when they were posted, the video type, and if the video had a hook written on screen. Out of 30 posts, 10 performed above average, 7 had a hook written at the start of the video, and my top 3 best performing posts all had a written hook. TikTok. During this time, I posted all the same content on TikTok, same content, same time of day with a much smaller result, although still a good outcome. I would agree that the TikTok algorithm is a bit stricter and prioritizes content over creator, whereas the Instagram algorithm takes into account both the content and the creator in regards to reach. You know, it's so funny because for a lot of TikTokers, they find Instagram to be harder. And for a lot of Instagram people, they find TikTok to be harder. And I'm going to share my thoughts on that in a moment. I'm growing like crazy on both. And I have a lot of friends who grow like crazy on both. Then I also have friends who struggle on TikTok and who make it on Instagram. But I have some thoughts on this. I'll share that at the end. So you continue, Nick. You say, I am not sure if I should double down on TikTok and attempt to put additional effort into trying to get TikTok to have better performance, or if I should just double down on Instagram because it is already performing, or just continue with what I'm doing. So, you know what? I'll give my advice right now. I was looking at your videos, and it seems like you have a lot of videos showing impressive scooter tricks. So people, for example, if you're listening Nick's videos are people doing impressive scooter tricks. There's very little talk. So if you want to see some dude on a Razor scooter on a half pipe, just doing a complete flip and spinning the scooter as he flips, you can go to Nick Leinberger's channel and watch. You just search Nick Leinberger. However, I think you want to focus on building your brand, you as a person. And I think that will get you to do better on both platforms. So my advice to you is put your face in every video. Clearly your face. Same thing that I do. I only have like under 10 videos probably where I don't show my face. But in all of my videos, I try to show my face. My face is the brand. I'm the brand. I'm trying to build trust in myself. My recommendation to you be to do a lot more videos where you are talking, where you are giving thoughts, where you are giving advice, where you are giving secrets, where you are sharing things that you are learning, or you are sharing things that other people have learned that got them excited, where you are sharing things that people sent you in your niche. And then you can play around with verbal hooks, like actually what are you saying that gets people to keep watching? I think that's a lot easier to learn and iterate with. You can script things and you can do green screen. You can show the impressive tricks in the background and then you're talking over them. You can put them on loop or you can put different ones together. But you can really test with hooks and people will see your face. You can test with actually saying hooks rather than putting hooks written on screen. And I think that the ROI in making your face the brand is a lot higher than not. So much higher, actually. So that's how I would recommend iterating your content going forward, which is use your face, make your face the brand. I think faceless channels are amazing if you are just promoting a product. That's when it works. If you already have the product and you just want to make the brand about the product, well, of course you're going to do a faceless channel because the channel isn't about the face, it's about the product, and that is the brand. However, Nick, you are the brand. And so you should be showing your face all the time in every video and try incorporating talking and experimenting with what you say as a hook. If you want to find my list of hooks that work, if you just go to my articles page, edwardsturm.com/articles, I have literally all of my articles. I think I have like 50 or 100 articles, and they're all just there. I set it up so it's just a kind of a never-ending scroll, even though it's like 50 to 100 articles. You can just search the page for hook, and then you will find, I think, 3 articles on my best hooks. All right, I'm going to finish this email now. So, SEO, you said, after some analysis, I have found that my accidental YouTube SEO win turned out to be an accidental YouTube and TikTok SEO win. The same how to tail whip tutorial that performed well on YouTube also performed well in search on TikTok. Coincidentally, also getting about 85% of its total views from search, 150,000 views. It seems that many people use TikTok as a search engine. So you had this video, for people who aren't familiar, Nick had this video, how to tail whip, and it got hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube, and that was because people were just searching this, and they wanted to watch it as a short rather than as a longer YouTube video. People wanted just a short form content to quickly learn it as fast as possible. Same thing, I was at the gym. This was Friday, and I was trying to improve my deadlift form, and I searched how to deadlift, and I preferred to watch shorts rather than videos because I wanted something that was fast while I was at the gym so I could just watch it and get back to doing the deadlifts. Makes perfect sense, and so people are using TikTok in the same way. And you wrote, my perspective is that anybody who wants to learn something quickly might prefer to search for it on TikTok because it will only serve them short form video, especially younger audiences who are more impatient. All right, and then the summary. Thanks for the advice. In the past 30 days, I've achieved content milestones I couldn't have imagined. I understand it's barely been 30 days and that growth is never consistent. I intend to keep making daily posts and really focusing on the long run. I'll check in periodically. Thanks again, Nick Leinberger. Nick, thank you. Thank you for sending that. That is what I had recorded yesterday in a completely different way. And that recording was lost forever. But this one I think turned out pretty well. So everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. This is episode 314 of my daily digital marketing, daily growth hacking, daily growth marketing show. Sometimes growth hacking, sometimes it's growth marketing. Maybe I'll do tomorrow I will do a growth hacking episode. Tomorrow I'll make an episode about how I went on 30 podcasts in 3 months. I think this was in 2022, back before I had my own show and my own platform and I was other people's podcasts, and I'll talk about that. That would be a fun one, and I think that one was a growth hack because if you don't want to start your own brand, if you don't want to create your own platform, but maybe you want to get backlinks, or maybe you want to have lots of videos on YouTube being interviewed, maybe you'll feel more comfortable like that. Maybe you want to go on shows where people have their own audiences and Granted, lots of these podcasts that I was going on were pretty small, but they were still useful. So if you want to do that, and it totally boosted my SEO domain authority. It was amazing. So if you want to do that, I'll make a podcast about that tomorrow. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, for listening. I will talk to you again tomorrow. And Nick, thank you too. Bye now.